There's basically only one issue that controls everybody, but it's layered. So you come into this place with an agenda, a program, which is called your personality, that provides you with a mechanism to grow in a certain direction, to feel a certain way about things. And then there's a requirement for you at a certain age to look to the side, see it for what it is, address it, forgive it, and then grow past it. It can come with you, but it can't be the real you anymore. You're supposed to grow past your personality to unfold. We mostly don't do that. And most of that is tied to how those around us have been taught based on social orders, which is a mechanism within the collective unconscious. It's all one thing. The collective unconscious then, in this time between times, has been for a while and will continue to be, although it's changing, offers solutions in forms of safety. It's a safety net. And in the inverted principles of this place and this reality of duality, uh, it's actually that there's only ever love and fear here. Inside love is the essence of the singular one love, the energy that creates, that which most call God. And inside fear is the essence of the singular one love, that which creates, what most call God. There's nothing that is not that. But the collective unconscious is literally whispering into everybody all the time. And everyone doesn't realize that they are projecting out what is whispered inside of them in your layers of unconscious. And so the collective unconscious offers us all these ropes through our social orders and our families and religions and belief systems. And we grab onto those ropes and we feel like those ropes are holding us up, but in reality, they're bending us out of shape inside, keeping us from being the real us. On the other side of that rope is a little flag that says fear. And fear here is your mirror. Fear here functions as a safety net. It seems like it wouldn't, but it does if you look really close. Fear keeps you safe. That's not the same as ego, but ego is kind of the small mind that keeps you safe here and reminds you of the fear. Um, it's all one thing. It's that we haven't grown past our personality, that we don't realize there's a collective unconscious, and that we don't realize we're internally holding onto ropes that we do not require based on the fact that the collective unconscious has offered them to us, and it seems as if they are safety, they are tied to safety. All of this can be solved by one thing, because it's all one thing. It's just the process of expanding your belief structure and forgiving. You see, the belief structure is a thing way down deep inside you. Superconscious, self-conscious, unconscious, lower unconscious, and then the subconscious bowl that projects back out. Or womb. The belief structure is way down deep in the lower unconscious, which is the densest and most hidden, secret part of our accessibility of ourself. There's parts of ourself that's really hard for us to access because when we try to access it, we try to access it from the place, excuse me, the place of the character. A character being either the audience or the actor, or every once in a while the author, but it's usually the audience or the actor. But to access the lower unconscious, really what you need to do is just step aside and see it and become the aware, the fourth position. So almost everybody, like what people call NPCs, almost everybody is, so they're just in the audience. It's not good or bad. They're just playing the character of the audience and they don't snap out of it, basically ever. And they're fully fed information, which they think are their own thoughts, but information via the safety net of the collective unconscious. Some are actors, and they are more high performers or individuals who are kind of teetering on learning and getting out of the system or whatever, or being entrepreneurial or whatever, taking a little bit of life into their own hands, but still fully devoting their energy on an unconscious level into the ropes attached to a safety net of fear. And then there's the authors, which are mostly unseen, and individuals who have learned to carve out their own path. And also those of which are called they. The they. There are groups, a bunch of them, and they are there for a reason, and they do influence way more actual functionality of life than people want to accept. And it's exactly the same thing as the people in the audience of the movie theater don't want to know about the life and why the decisions were and the rewrites and what actually is in between the lines in the script of the movie. They don't really want to know anything about the author. They just want the movie. They want the screen. Because the screen is their daddy or their mommy at that point. That's where they're giving their divine energy and it's reflecting it back to them. So at most they want to have a relationship with the actors, but they don't really want that either. That their relationship is within themselves, and they are in a place of comfort to receive. And then there's a step up into a place of participation, and then there's a step up into a place of dictation, and then eventually there's a step up into a place of what if what if I'm way more than I ever comprehended or anyone around me could comprehend? What if everything here is way more? What's going on here? Well, the answer obviously isn't out here. Just like everything else, the answer, but it can't be in here because this thing seems tricky. Oh, it's in here. Start with the heart. First look within. Prima vultus interiorum. The answer to everything is in here, and everything out here is keeping you from starting here. Not because it's your enemy, not because it's attacking you, not because it's a trick. There are tricks here, but because it's giving you the opportunity of some type of friction for you to begin to realize that that's what's going on. So this place is tricky and it takes away your memory. So everybody's basically forgotten who they are. And then some great philosophies and religions, it's that you don't exist and you're nothing. And in other ones, you are tiny and unimportant, but you will be rewarded one day with greatness and forever. You just have to live out these 70 years and be good, and then everything is great forever. And then there's others that you are God, and there's others that there is no God. Then there's others that God is a, a being, and you are subordinate to it forever, and you should be happy about that. And just the fact that those things are themes that exist should give a true man or a true woman some pause to say, well, it doesn't seem like I'm going to find the answer outside then. Because if you just lay those out on a piece of paper, none of them seem like the answer. Seem like things that people put in front of other people. And there's a lot of profoundness lying where the original point of view was, but at this point it's all kind of the telephone game. And it's very clear that all religion and philosophy and wisdom comes from the same core place. And in my opinion, that is a message of you to you, by you, through you, now realizing who you are and what you're meant to do. From I've had that experience a lot. And then what becomes challenging is, well, what do you do with that? Because there's like this clarity, this awareness, this higher elevation of life, and then there's this flickering snap of, yeah, remember about your siblings or your obligations or your work or whatever it is, your spouse, your kids, and then it just kind of pulls you. So these strings like pull you back into, well, I'm here, I see, and then it's, yeah, but come on back in over here because we got shit to do. And it's clear to me it's part of the hero's journey. At some point, you must stop going back over there and you must walk forward this way. And I think that's when your life really starts. That's when real life really begins. That's what all the sages have done. They stopped looking back at their weakened version of self that was basically just subservient to the programs of this place keeping it safe until it was ready. Not good or bad, just the process. And eventually said, I'm so ready. Without requirement for preparation, without judgment and perfection. I'm it. I'm all there is. All there is loves me, and I love all there is. And if there is fear, then I welcome the fear. Just as I welcome the love, because it is all the same. And that's not a perspective of, I haven't looked into it. I don't really look into anything. But what a lot of people say, non duality, almost like a pacifist perspective. Look, non-duality and then manifestation and creating everything with your mind is laying on top of Vedic principles and Hermetic principles. All that is true as far as I can tell in this place and wonderful. However, if there's ever been anything manifested, everything forever has always been manifested. If if there's an idea that this is all simulation and it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. Well, to a certain degree, it's not real. But if you are divine, limitless spirit energy, which is my opinion, and you have the opportunity to be embodied, which seems like it to me, and this place is a magical realm reflecting your internal energy back to you so that you can become aware of it and begin to grow and master yourself through mastery of subject. And there's a process of growth here. And it's described, it's not only, but it's described like fairly succinctly in the hero's journey. And that you are all four stages of the audience and the actor and the author and the aware. Well, then, if you have another life somewhere else and you are looking into this one, you would be like, that's the most real life because it's so dense. It's super dense. Don't waste your whole life going, I see that there's more than this, so I do nothing. I mean, it's not a waste if that's part of your process, that's all good. I think that is part of everybody's process to a certain degree. But then, do shit. Because you are a magical, limitless, divine energy being of the spiritual realm, operating as embodiment in this magical place. Hold that awareness and then do shit with it. Do shit. Instead of trying to analyze and figure everything, just work on only holding that awareness and then have fun doing things. That's kind of it. To go back to the original point, we feel like there's stagnation sometimes. We feel like there's a great problem. There's this great resistance. That's internal story that we're telling ourselves that we've had adapted from an external story. Not good or bad, just part of it. To release these ropes that we're holding that are attached to our family or friend or occupation or social order, collective unconscious pools. In my opinion, we have to do two things. We have to go in and expand the belief structure, which I was saying before is in your lower unconscious. And your belief structure is what allows you to perceive within a certain limit. It's like allowing your own self. It's like the governor or the barometer for your own self. Like we're not gonna let ourselves get too far out of this because we can't even handle this yet. So we tend to look at a lot of stuff as if the world is bad or these other people are bad or there's things about me that are bad or there's this problem or something I have to get past. In reality, it's just addressing it, allowing it, forgiving it, and getting out of our own way with it. Because what you focus on, you get more of. And what you fear, you feed. And then we if we start to grasp that, we're like, oh, I'm fearing all this stuff. I'm going to get more of it. Oh, I'm scared. I'm going to get more of it. Now I'm doubled down on fear. That ain't you, pal. That's some bullshit. And you can feel it. Feel it here. Feel it here. Feel it here. That ain't it. So you're here. Seems like we're waking up pretty much every day, kind of same. Life is flowing through you as it's flowing through everything. And it's reflecting back to you a couple things. One is what you pay attention to, what you focus on. And if you're not consciously focusing on anything, you're unconsciously focusing. You're not playing the game of life. Life is playing the game of you. And it's flowing through you, just as it's flowing through your dog and your house or your school or the trees. I don't mean as the breeze, that too. I mean literally every molecule and space between molecule and all energy everywhere in all ways. That is life flowing. And it's flowing through you. And most have lost awareness of it or have been trained out of it into a new pattern or just have a hard time grasping and holding on to the fact that they are the awareness that is controlling where their mind places its attention. So, spotlight in the mind, where it places its attention, grows. Think of it like everything in your life is in this space of blackness, which is the female womb, holding energy, which is required in the three-step process of the creative generative principle. But there's this blackness, and then whatever you put your mind on is a spotlight, and it shows up. Not that it's only there because of you, but it becomes illuminated because of you, because you are divine, limitless spirit energy. And you're placing your energy via your mind's attention on something in this place. And this place is it cannot not be God or awareness or the creative generative principle or the flow of life itself. And if there's other lives and other spiritual entities and other realms, does it all function the same? I don't know. But it seems like there's got to be some type of a through line there. This is like the base principle. What's going on? Figure out who you are. Well, part of it is what you pay attention to grows. Don't run away from that. Don't act like you got it already. Really sit with that. What's the implication? Come here, girl. What's the implication? What you pay attention to grows in your life. If you think that's not true, then that's that's good. That's okay. But I would suggest look again. And it doesn't mean that you're the only thing that exists. It means that this place is functioning in a manner that is truly the definition of magic. It's literally creating based on the intentional force and attention of spirit from an invisible energy realm and from a causal place, and it actualizes in this dense effectual manner that we call events in our lives. So from like this kitten, if I just threw it out the window and I never ever paid attention to it again, it may not live the way we consider it to be living, but it likely could live and would grow still into a full-size cat. But if you look at the things that happen in your life and how things are moving like this divine soup. So the kitten, like animals and plants, water, they are being affected by us constantly. However, they're also on a program already. And so is our body to a certain degree. It's already like it goes back, it comes from this place, it goes back to this place. It's already on a program. So it's not that we can mess all that up. It's so don't look at it as if, well, what I don't pay attention to still seems to be growing somehow. Look at it as if I become acutely aware of what I do pay attention to. And then when I do pay attention to it, it always is growing. So you paying attention to certain plants in your garden? Are you paying attention to your breath? Are you paying attention to paying attention? Your own awareness? Are you paying attention to a potential line in a legal document in a negotiation? Are you paying attention to some kind of theme or statement and then you hear it in a song later on or some synchronicity appears? And these are random perspectives, but are examples. What you pay attention to grows is literally feeding back to you the energy of your spotlight here. But it's subtle. It's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be that this there's no value in this life system if it's obvious at every stage. I mean, there's so much that I'm unaware of currently. And it's the process of becoming more aware until all of a sudden that new epiphany or that new awareness, that new level, or however we can describe it, that that new perspective that's always been there, laying latent inside me, but wasn't being used inside me because I was using other parts, was paying attention to other things, using a different system inside me, so I could not see it outwardly. And then once I tapped into it inside me, then it seems new to me, but it's always been there. So we must allow our belief structure to grow. Expand your belief structure. And if that gives you pause or gives you feelings or makes you a little tight, then that's perfect. That's for you. Um, the only reason I say that is because I've done it a lot, not because somebody told me to. It became obvious at some point. It became one of those levels I bumped up against inside of myself. And I probably ran away from it 1,000 times. I don't remember. But eventually, I just sat with it. And then after sitting with it, I leaned into it. And that usually occurs in what's considered to be the dark night of the soul, or what I describe as getting lost in the forest. Like the forest is good for taking a hike. And then when you're a little kid, the second you get lost in there and you're alone, all of a sudden this beautiful, wonderful place turns into a nightmare. And the second it gets dark in there, it's like all this life that is feeding you energy during the daytime. It's like, well, there's other life here that might eat me. And all of what is considered to be safety shows itself for what it really is, which is just fear whispering, let me take care of you. Don't look at me. I'm fear. And if you're in the forest, you can't do anything with it. If you don't sit and address it, you will stay at that level forever. It's that with everything in life. If you're playing the guitar and you only keep playing exactly the same songs in exactly the same way, doesn't matter how many more times you play it. If you're putting a limit on yourself, then that's what you are. You have to face yourself. And to do that, you have to go into the place that you don't want to be. The forest is a gift. Some things are scary so that we can overcome parts of ourselves. And the way to overcome everything every time is to sit with it, allow it to be, address it, and forgive it. So, those are the two principles I was going to mention earlier. It's belief structure, which is basically just like your little kid hands holding a book, a sacred text book of your self that has your personality and then the things that have been very deeply imprinted. And that is being held way down deep inside your lower unconscious. And instead of going in and ripping it all up, all you have to do is place your hands, your adult hands, around the little kid hands and just let it be and just sit with it. And eventually the little kid hands will be less and less scared and will start to calm down because they have comfort on them. They have safety on them. And so from there, the book can open up a little bit and you can just continue to expand your belief structure. And then instead of trying to rewrite everything inside of you, you're deprogram myself, go back to nut, just write new shit. Just write new stuff. Like, this life is flowing through you. You want to go back and live in all the memories that are kind of wishy-washy to begin with. And it's all based on a, and everything is a story you're telling yourself. Everything. And the deep imprints of the story are in your book of belief down here in your belief structure. And this imprinting is emotional and then physical and psychological tethers to the story. It's a story. All of this life is opportunity, and all of this life is a story. It's too much for most to comprehend. They're all living in their own world and their own story, and it's all overlapping. But that's true. The point is, grow the fuck up and write your own story. Sorry I'm saying it like that, but stop being so scared of addressing your own little kid. It's you. Stop being scared of these dark spirits. They only function based on your energy. Stop giving all your attention to all these uh, recurring issues. I know that one's really, really hard because that's like deeply ingrained. I have a physical ailment, or I have a um, psychological, what is considered to be a disorder. I keep seeing and feeling the same things and keep saying the same things. And I don't like my life, basically, or I'm just stagnant. The way that that stuff goes away is that you get out of your way. You want to be the real you and only focus on the real you. But to do that, you have to let go of, it's a process. It's a hero's journey. It's the eightfold noble path. It's the unfolding of self. It doesn't happen out of order properly. You have to go through the process of letting go. To let go, you go look at that belief structure, that book of belief, and you start to write new stuff. To give yourself the opportunity to write new stuff when you feel so tight and so fragmented and so out of shape and nothing is working, your biological and nervous system is all over the place. You know that you're not in the place you want to be. And you don't know how to get there, and it feels so far away. The answer is go into nature and forgive. Go sit by a tree, pour some water, ideally both, and connect with love, the great singular one love, and which does exist. And anybody who doesn't think it exists, I absolutely guarantee that they have not done what I'm saying, what is being said. It's not about me. Go sit under a tree or by water. Connect with whatever is beyond you, not in a hoping manner, not in a wishing, not in a scared, but just in a unplanned, completely open manner. You have to be courageous and do it. This isn't hippie shit. This isn't um, a mind game or hypnotist. Open yourself up. You are closed off. Open yourself to connect with love. Breathe. Close your eyes and breathe. Just one of those, you'll feel better. Do that 30 or 40 times. And then begin the process of feeling and telling yourself and saying it as it's true internally. You can say it externally too, but you must say it internally, which means not auditory. I forgive everything. I forgive everything. I have forgiven everything. I forgive everything. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. You get good at it, probably only takes like 3, 4, maybe 10 times. When you're starting, you're just going to probably not hold your attention and your focus in a singular place. So you might allow yourself to say it 30, 40, 80, 200 times. You don't have to count. Just say it and then mean it and then believe it and then be it. Sit there and forgive everything. Everything to the point where nothing exists. You've forgiven everything and nothing exists anymore. And you keep your eyes closed and you breathe and you just forgive everything. This is the ticket. It's very difficult to get back to being the real you because of the reverse engineer process. The ropes that we're all holding up and got us all bundled up and inside, and the collective unconscious that's pulling us, and we don't realize it. It's pulling everyone around us, and we don't realize it. Not good or bad, it's just that we're connected, and that we haven't grown past our personality. And so there's programs of safety and learning and trajectory of basically a little kid that hasn't fully developed and grown up. And just because we've learned a lot of skills around that doesn't mean we've actually done the thing we're meant to do in here. And then there's the belief structure. How do we get to release that belief structure and allow it to just not force, but just crack open a little bit? You want to be one with self? Connect with love in nature. Forgive everything. It's only up to you. Forgive everything as if nothing ever existed. And then hold that. Live in the gratitude of that just for that. And then immediately forgive yourself because it will feel like you don't have anything to forgive yourself for because you think that you're part of this everything you've forgiven. But there's that deep, deep part of you that's still operating from the place of little kid personality and book of belief structure. So everything is being forgiven, and then you have to go back and say, and I forgive myself. I forgive myself. And say it out loud and then internally. Do that enough times, exactly in that order, and that is the process of letting go. And you will feel perfect. And if you choose, right in that moment, when you can feel that, for me, it feels like a bell shape of energy when I say I forgive everything. Bell shape of energy just kind of washes over where either everything leaves or it's just like a protective barrier. It's kind of like, yes, everything is actually safe. Everything is actually real. Everything is actually good because everything is actually forgiven. It's becoming one with the forest that was once scary. Now there's no separation between you and it. And then it's the forgiving of self feels like it's just like cleansing cold water inside. Like everything is back to being not necessarily to be religious about it, but back in a purified state, like a internal baptism. And the external is like a burning away of fire. So it's just a cleansing and starting over. It's the same for everybody. It works every time. And if you're having a difficult process with it, that's the ticket. Then it's telling you, it's showing you. It's you showing you. Here's an issue. It's time to grow and unfold ourselves to be able to see what's holding us back, what's holding me back in that scenario. And it's almost always tied to a thing of an original personality that hasn't grown, hasn't been unfolded. See, the personality is like a flowering bush, a seasonal, annual flowering bush that makes seeds and comes back and makes seeds and comes back and has it's beautiful and it has 200 flowers, but it dies back every winter and eventually it wants to grow into complete death of personality to be able to grow into all personality and all self and all expression of divine love. Actually become a master, actually become wise, actually live, actually be the leader of self, actually participate in life with this place, with the consciousness of life participating with you, both flowing together in the middle path. And to do that, that little flowering bush must eventually give up itself and completely dissolve and die. And from there, there's a seed underneath it, which kicks on into germination. It's been laying latent internally in you, the real you. And then it begins to grow, and that seed turns into a sapling. And that sapling has a tough journey of what's considered to be awakening or awareness. And it's lonely, and it's by itself, and there's no other trees around, and there's just miles of other flowering bushes that are beautiful, of which it used to be. And there's no other little trees, no other little saplings. Still feels even more sensitive and more dangerous out there. And what if this sapling gets killed and there's nothing left? Then it's all pointless? Nothing exists? It's all a simulation? And you just keep growing and you keep growing and you keep growing. And before you know it, you're not a little sapling anymore. You're a 4 or 5 year old tree. And you have some thickness to you. You have some bark. And you see other trees off in the distance. And then it's like seeing ants. It's like, oh, all I see now is trees off in the distance. And some, there's a whole forest over there I never saw before. Some of them are thousands of years old. But most of them I can see are about the same size as me. And there's still all the flowering bushes underneath me. But I'm supporting them now. And I love them. I don't give them my attention. My attention is on living in divinity with my purpose, which is not you as the tree versus the flowering bushes. It's It's the same journey each one of those flowering bushes must go on. It's not ever they versus it or me versus them or this one versus this one. It doesn't exist. It's the only true competition is within, always. So in this journey, the most efficient manner of resetting and of allowing true growth for me appears to be expanding belief structure and forgiveness is like the key. Once you've gone through that process of letting go and forgiveness, if you're holding that and you're sitting in it right there under that tree or by the water or wherever you're doing it in your yoga studio, whatever. Again, you if you do this every day, you get good at it. Within like a month, it will only take you maybe 5 minutes, honestly. And it's one of, if not the best thing you can possibly do. Right in that spark, when you have connected with love, forgiven everything, and forgiven yourself, and you're sitting in it, then you have the opportunity to connect with your true imagination through your heart. So to get your brain and your mind, so you have levels of mind, but your brain and your mind out of the way, once you've forgiven everything, you have the opportunity right then to begin to focus on your heart. Physically, but also the aura of your heart, and also the heart being the prism of your soul. So this just the shining and flowing through of divine energy. And if you can literally, what you pay attention to grows, not pay attention to the head or the brain or the flow of energy in the mind, and not pay attention to the body. So no fear, but pay attention to the heart and just allow it to be and allow it to grow. That energy, you can then ask that a question. And in my opinion, that's how you find your purpose. It's a method. You ask a question in that state of full letting go and full forgiveness. So, for example, if you're sitting in the forest in a children's book, girl's lost her way and she has to sit in the forest for 3 nights, 4 days, and the first night is just terrifying and the second night is scary, but some spooky cool things happen, some luminescence appears and some animals scare her, but she comes to realize that they're not actually hurting her. And then the third night she begins to play with it and then realizes that the forest is speaking back to her and that she is bigger and stronger and more powerful than she thought, only because she didn't realize that she was magic. It's easy to see like there's magic out there. It's hard to see there's magic in here. And so when she realizes that she's magic, that's when the real game begins, because then she has to choose to close herself off and force or to open herself up and allow it to flow. And the more you allow it to flow, the more fun it is. And so if you go into your heart and you ask it a question, something shall appear. And that's why I suggest doing that, because I think it's superior, but also because the mind has so much stuff in it that it can there can be a lot of things that come back in the mind that aren't necessarily straightforward to finding your purpose and honoring your gifts and following your bliss. But I have found that the heart is that. So if you sit with the heart in that forgiving everything connected to love and forgive yourself moment. And you ask whatever it is in your heart, whatever question. Even just ask the question, what question should I be asking? And you just listen and sit. You will receive one response. And from there, and don't try to look for the response like, I haven't got it yet, I haven't got it yet, I haven't got it. No, just you're breathing and you're in complete forgiveness and love. You're remembering who you really are. So listen to your heart, literally, and you will receive something. And then when you get back into your self-conscious state, hold that intention from your heart, the intention from your heart, and then control your mind, hold the attention of your mind on the intention of that heart. And then apply the friction of your body immediately to that one thing that your heart said. So that's focus and friction. To reverse engineer that, you sit in nature and connect with love, forgive everything, forgive yourself, and then as you choose, inquire and listen to your heart's imagination. Everyone has the requirement to face and bless and grow past and unfold their core personality, which is not them. It's just a path that's, just look at it like we're all coming from a center point on a physical landscape, and our personality is just a trajectory of different elevation and different tunnels and different perspectives coming out from a sphere of where we all come from. We're all going different directions. We're eventually all come back to the same place, but our personality puts us in a certain way of seeing a certain thing and feeling a certain thing and having to overcome certain things. We all must overcome our personality. Not throw it away and think it's bad. Not attack the ego. Just expand your belief structure. We all must become aware that there's a collective unconscious and feed it awareness instead of being fed by it a repetition of fear. We all must release the ropes that are bounding us up inside and instead allow them to flow through our hands and bless them as they go so that we are free to unfold. Personality, collective unconscious, releasing ropes. To do that, I suggest expanding your belief structure and forgiveness. The only thing that's impossible with this life flowing through us in this place is truly that anything is impossible. There is a word called miracles for a reason. Like, why do we have this idea that some things just aren't for us? If you really reset yourself and then look at it, how silly is that shit? Live your whole life telling yourself a story that you're not good enough for your own reflection. This place is doing everything it can to feed you the awareness of what's inside you and what you must address now. And that's why when people smoke a bunch of weed or take a bunch of mushrooms or ayahuasca or whatever, they tend to, sometimes, not always, they tend to see like all these extremely deep refractions of what would be considered to be awarenesses outside of self. But it's really just, instead of being a 20 step, one stare at a time process of growth through the hero's journey, they're seeing, maybe like they're on step 2 and they're seeing like step 8, and then they're also seeing step like 17 and a bunch of other stuff in between. And they're not supposed to see step 17 yet, unless it's giving them a guidance to recall where they're positioning themselves, get their shoulders straight, and go toward it. But lots of times it's confusing, and they feel like it's all external when it's actually an internal process of life feeding back to them either what they must address or where they must go. It's kind of the same thing. I suggest stop running from the forest inside you. Sit with it. You will be happy that you did. The quicker you address something, the quicker that you sit with something, the quicker that you're uh, completely transparent about it, the quicker that you get the quicker you recall the power of you. And that it was never a thing to be fearful of in the beginning. Everyone's always running away from themselves. Again, that's based on the story that they're telling themselves, which way over 99% of that is a story that's been handed to them via the collective unconscious. None of this is good or bad. You will feel better when you get back to being you. What if you just, from now on, are only your true self? Your true self is sitting in there. It's easy to find. Nature is showing it to you all the time. But it's also showing you the things that you're projecting out that you're allowing to cover up your true self. And all those things are attached to ropes inside of you. You have to let go of those ropes. To let go, you forgive. Forgive everything. Forgive the fact there's even stars. Forgive your teeth. Forgive everything. Forgive to the point there's no existence. And then forgive yourself. And then you have that fleeting moment of no attachment to those ropes that are controlling you. And then you have the opportunity to truly inquire with courage. Where am I supposed to be going? What am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to do while I'm here before I go? So easy. Just do that. I love you. Prima Voltus Interior.